Good evening. Welcome to a rainy car park and a tired face. A week on from seeing The Gentleman, I've just been to see another film by a British director, probably about as far from The Gentleman as you can get. Tonight I've been to see Sam Mendes's new film 1917. I'm a bit emotional, like I've managed to stop booing, but there were tears. No spoilers, obvs, it's not how I roll. But yeah, it is a very, very emotional film. So if you've seen the trailers, then you know the premise. And even if you haven't, the premise is outlined in the first 5-10 minutes of the film. We're in France, it's World War One, it's 1917, clues in the title, and two young lance corporals are called to their, I want to say boss, it's not the word, is it? They're called to see the general, the major. I don't know army ranks, can you tell? Major. Let's go. Major, general. Anyway, field marshal. I don't know. They're called to see the dude in charge. That's so disrespectful. I know, I'm sorry. Apologies to any military personnel watching this. I don't know ranks. They're called to see Colin Firth. That's easier. And he tells them that he has a mission for them. And their mission is this. They need to travel from where they are to another battalion elsewhere in France to deliver a message, to call off an attack. And to do it, they have to basically go through no man's land. And they have until dawn the following morning. Otherwise, 1,600 men are going to their death, because those 1,600 men, those troops under the command of Major Mackenzie, they believe they've got the Germans on the run. They believe that they've made progress and they're going to take them down, and the whole thing's a trap. So Colin Firth, Sergeant, whatever he is, he knows that it's a trap because they've got intel and they've got aerial photographs. So they call upon two very young soldiers, lance corporals, Blake and Schofield. They are played by, I've just looked his name up, Dean Charles Chapman and George Mackay, or McKay, I'm going to go with Mackay. Dean Charles Chapman, most people will know from Game of Thrones. He was Tommen Baratheon. I nearly said how Tommen Baratheon's character meets his end, and then I was like, oh no, spoilers. Is there still spoilers on Game of Thrones? I don't know. So he is good with maps. That's part of the reason why he's been chosen, but also because his older brother, Lieutenant Blake, is one of the men who will be leading soldiers over the top the following morning. So he's basically saving the lives of 1,600 men, but his brother will be one of them. And then he selects George Mackay's character, which is Will Schofield, to go with him. That's it. 2 men, 1 letter, clock's ticking. They've got to get from A to B. In the middle of A and B are Germans and shells and danger, and that's it. That's all the film is, except it's not all the film is. It is easily one of the most visually stunning films I've possibly ever seen. The cinematographer who works with Sam Mendes is a man called Roger Deakins, and they've worked together a lot, and they are clearly one of those magical cinematic partnerships. It's astounding, and I don't feel like I've ever seen camera work like it. And there's talk in, reviews in the press about it being one continuous shot. It's not one continuous shot, but what it is you with those soldiers for the entire film. There are no cutaways, so it's not off they go on the mission. Meanwhile, in the trenches, there's no meanwhile. You're just with them the whole way, and for that reason it packs such a huge emotional punch, because you're with them. You are with them every step, through the mud, through the trenches, through bodies and dead cows and dead horses and mud. Did I already say mud? You're beside them the whole way. and that's, it creates such a like I say, an emotional response. The two lead actors, or the two young lads in the lead roles, are fantastic. They're a lovely balance where Dean Charles Chapman's Blake is sort of your young London geezer soldier, and then Will Schofield, George Mackay, is taller, perhaps from a slightly better background. So they're a bit of an odd pairing, but you can tell that there's friendship there, that perhaps, or almost definitely, away from the war, their paths would never have crossed and they perhaps wouldn't have been friends, but in these strange and sad circumstances, there is a friendship there. Not that they're besties, but there is a mutual respect and a bond, which is beautiful and really well portrayed by the two of them. You've got a bit of a who's who of British actors. So I've already mentioned Colin Firth. You've got Benedict Cumberbatch. You've got Andrew Scott for one scene, but what a scene it is. I don't feel like giving away all the other ones, but there are just faces that pop up. Mark Strong's in there as well, but what's lovely is, while those cameos or those small roles for these big names are impressive and it makes you go, oh look, Colin Firth, it's all about those two lads. And it's not just about those two lads, it's about the other young soldiers that they meet along the way, the other lance corporals, and you've got all these different accents because these men did come from all corners of the UK. You know, there's an Indian soldier in the midst, a British Indian soldier. I heard quite a few Geordie accents, which obviously delighted me. It is a hard watch at times. It doesn't shy away from, this expression gets bandied about a lot, the horrors of war, but it carries a 15 certificate for a reason. When they are crossing no man's land, you've got trenches, you've got craters, that's the word I'm looking for, full of rainwater, full of bodies, full of limbs. You know, it's not pretty. It's probably the most realistic depiction of a battle scene and of no man's land that I've probably ever seen on screen. Yeah, it's absolutely phenomenal, and I'm really glad that it's doing so well, that it's reaching a really wide audience. It was quite an eclectic bunch that was in there with me tonight. Sam Mendes is a Sir now. He was knighted in the Queen's New Year's Honours List, services to drama and theatre, or film and theatre. But it really is an outstanding piece of work. I mean, it's amazing. And sad. And very occasionally funny. You get a bit of squaddy banter between the soldiers, which is very realistic and very sort of endearing, very sweary obviously because they're soldiers, but yeah, it's a real piece of work. 2 hours long, tense, scary, unsettling, sad, funny, thought-provoking. I really liked it, can you tell? I think that's probably enough said really, isn't it? Go and see it. I'll probably see it again if I can, because there's a lot to take in, but yeah, a phenomenal piece of work. Third film I've seen this year, and so far my favourite. Let's see where it is in the top 10 come the end of 2020. Katie out.